a little something about.
Okay, well, great evening, everyone. I am Reverend Mialena Zachary. I am a executive intuition trainer and intuitive counselor, which is a fancy way of saying psychic life coach. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher, and I am a holistic wellness practitioner. And this evening, I am so thrilled to be here speaking with some of my favorite people in one of my favorite groups, On Purpose Women. Our host, Ginny Robertson, is not able to be with us tonight, but we're going to continue on and wish her well wherever she is. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me just move these little things out of the way. Okay, so this presentation is called The Neuroscience of Women's Intuition. And I've already told you who I am, but let me tell you what I do. For the most part, I help women between the ages of 45 and 75, typically, bloomers and Gen XX women, if you will. I help women make better decisions faster. Smart, empathetic, accomplished women like you. I help you to reconnect with the most sophisticated decision making tool that you already have. So, oh, why is my screen not? Why am I? There we go. Sorry about that. Before we begin, does any of this sound familiar? What is something that every single woman has been quietly trained to ignore? You're in a meeting, you're having a conversation, or maybe you're just sitting alone with a decision, and something in you already knows the answer. You can feel it, you can sense it. It's tickling your brain. But instead of trusting that feeling, you start negotiating with yourself. You second guess the decision that you already know is right. You explain away your gut feeling with logic. But later, sometimes much later, you realize that that first instinct was exactly correct. Or maybe it's a bigger decision. Maybe this sounds familiar. Do you ever feel like you've lost trust in yourself? Like somewhere along the way to becoming who everyone else needed, you forgot the best friend that you ever had, your own innate wisdom. Hmm. And yes, I know this, all of this. It's very familiar to me because I've experienced it myself multiple times over multiple years, which is exactly why I do this work. So, what do you think intuition means? How would you define this word? A couple of the answers that we got before I started recording were my inner knowing, a knowing, the unspoken, the little nudges, the big nudges, and all of that is absolutely perfect because whatever intuition means to you is what it means for you. But I'm going to be curious. So if you haven't already, or if you're watching the replay, jot it down on a piece of paper what you think intuition means, because I'm really curious to know if that's going to change by the time this presentation is over. Here's a cool neuroscience fact. Your brain processes 11 million bits of information per second. That is so fast, I can't even comprehend it, right? But your mind, the thinking, analytical, worrisome consciousness inside of your brain and around your brain processes only about 40. Wait, what? 40. 40. That's right, out of 11 million. Mr. Spock and I find that highly illogical. So, what's happening to the other 10,999,960 bits of data? Well, your brain is processing those below the level of your conscious awareness, matching patterns at extraordinary speed, drawing from every experience you've ever had, every person you've ever met, every environment you've ever had to navigate. It's looking for your conscious mind, your brain is looking for confirmation, for answers, and for ideas. And what all of that processing results in is a series of signals that we commonly call a gut feeling, a hunch, an insight, or a stroke of genius. That one's my favorite in case you can't tell. But I also call it your nervous system's most sophisticated form of intelligence. Now, I can guess what some of you might be thinking right now. You're like, come on, Mia. I'm a reasonable, rational, practical person. I don't believe in fill in the blank with whatever word would come next for you. And that's fair. That's fair. So let me tell you what intuition is not. It is not fortune telling. It is not supernatural prediction. It is not mind reading. It is not wishful thinking. It is not emotional bias. It is not imagination, though it can lead to imagination. And perhaps most importantly, it is not something that you don't have. Let me say that again. The most important thing that intuition is not is something that you don't have. Yeah, it's a double negative. Bear with me. So basically, I want to cross off from your definition list the mystical, unprovable, eye rolling definitions, because that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about something that is innate, natural, present with you at birth, a part of every woman I know and every woman who has ever walked the earth. Why is that? Because every woman at some point has had to be on high alert, has had to read a room, has had to scan her environment, has had to make sure that she's safe or that her children or her siblings or her spouse or her friends. We've all had to do it, which is why I know you all have it. So, intuition is your brain's ability to process vast amounts of information beneath the surface of your awareness. We've already said that. But you don't want to just hear it from me, do you? Of course not. So I brought receipts. Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman spent his career studying what he calls fast thinking and slow thinking, and showed that expert executive intuition is refined pattern recognition operating at a speed your conscious mind cannot keep up with. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio found that people who lost the ability to access emotional and body based signals due to brain injury could no longer make good decisions, even with their logic fully intact, therefore proving that your body is part of your brain's decision making system. Neuroscience has also confirmed that your mind organizes information and composes insights faster than logic alone could through four very specific areas of the brain that work together simultaneously. Now, bear with me for a second because I'm going to hit you with the neuroscience part that I promised in the title of this talk. Your prefrontal cortex blends emotion, memory, and perception to give you that I don't know how I know, I just know kind of experience. The amygdala scans all of your sensory perception and your memory for significance and danger, which adds verification to your so-called hunches. The insula is the part of the brain that tracks your body sensations, turning a gut feeling or a tingle or a shiver or a gut clench or a throat tightening or the hair standing up on your arms into actual data that your brain can use. And then the basal ganglia is the part of the brain that recognizes patterns and automates your complex decision making. That's the reason why sometimes a decision just feels so easy and so natural when your conscious mind comes up with it. It's because your physical brain has already been working on all of the different pieces that needed to go together to make that puzzle complete. So, like I said, intuition, not a mystical hunch. It's actually a highly sophisticated cognition system. All right. So let's get out of the textbook and into the journal or diary. Um, yeah, this is real for me. This is not theoretical for me. I've been able to read a room since I was about 5 years old. I grew up in an environment where I had to be constantly aware of the emotional energy around me. What was daddy's mood today, this afternoon, this hour? Was he clenching his jaw or worse, his fists? Did his tone of voice change? Did his body language shift? I became extraordinarily good in my infancy at picking up any subtle changes in body language, in tone of voice, in atmosphere, because I needed to feel safe. Now, for most of my life, I would not have called that a gift. It felt like anxiety. It felt like hypervigilance. It felt like carrying a weight that none of the other kids had to. But as I got older and I discovered psychology and then energy medicine and then neuroscience, and I started playing around and practicing these three methodologies, I realized that my survival skills had developed into extraordinary superpowers as a healer and as a life coach. Micromonitoring, threat assessment, processing multiple streams of information simultaneously, accelerated empathy, pattern recognition in high stress moments. What I thought were ongoing wounded trauma responses are also tools that I can use to help myself and to help other women. So I have spent over 2 decades learning how to teach other women how to access their intuition, their primal knowing, without needing to go through all the trauma that I had to get where I am today. Sorry, not sorry. You're welcome. So, in the work that I do, we deal with these 4 channels of innate intelligence, clear feeling. Your body knows before your mind does. That tightening in your chest that I talked about, the clenching of your stomach, the sudden hair sticking up on your arms. This is inexplicable, but also indispensable. Real information that your body gives you all the time if you remember to pause long enough to listen to the messages your body's trying to send you. Clear seeing. There is a difference between seeing images being processed by your eyeballs and your brain and looking. We can't consciously look at everything all the time. So we're really lucky that our brain does it for us. It's looking at every single image that comes into our awareness, trying to find patterns of things that we recognize, things that might be dangerous, and things that might be useful. Clear hearing. Well, there is a thing for those of us who are creatives or artists, especially writers. We do tend to hear voices in our heads of our characters or the narrators of the book, but everyone at some point has had a little nudge, a little thought. Sometimes you hear it, sometimes you see it. But everyone, sometimes I see it as words written across like the inside of my brain, but there's always a little quiet voice wanting to support you, wanting to guide you, wanting to give you some level of direction. And again, it's just a matter of pausing long enough to listen for it. And finally, but not last, not least in the least, if you will, there's clear knowing. There's a certainty that sometimes arrives without explanation. You just know. You just know that you don't want to shake hands with that guy at the business meeting. You just know that you do not want to walk out to your car right now. You're going to wait and find somebody to walk out with you. Sometimes you just know it doesn't make any sense to anybody else, but I know that this is the right decision and I'm going forward. I'm going to trust myself. You were born with all of this innate wisdom, every single one of these abilities. They haven't gone anywhere. You just may have been ignoring them because you didn't feel like you could trust it, or you were worried about other opinions, external opinions. That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to meet you where you are. So let me show you what I mean right now. Let's take a minute together. If you can, relax any tension that you're holding in your body. Get comfortable in your chair. Take a slow breath in and let it out. Let's do that again just because it felt good. Take a slow breath in and let it out. Now you're welcome to soften your gaze or close your eyes entirely. That's that's up to you. But what I want you to do is notice your body. Notice how your butt feels on your chair. Have you been sitting for too long? Is it causing some tenderness in your hips and your some aching in your low back? How are your feet? How are your hands? How does your chest feel? Is there any tension in your shoulders? Is there any, a slight headache? Is there anything calling for your attention? What about inside? Is your belly rumbling? Are you feeling sleepy? Do you need a cup of tea or do you need to go watch a funny TV show? What's going on? Just observe, no judgment. Take another slow breath in and let it out. And what the heck, let's do that one more time. Take a slow breath in and let it out. Congratulations. You have just practiced intentional awareness, and that makes you a master of the first lesson that we do in my executive intuition training program. Intuition is a lot easier than you think. So even if you're not one of my students and you're not sure yet whether you want to be, all you need is 15 minutes a day. You can find 15 minutes. It doesn't even have to be 15 minutes consecutively. For 5 minutes, you can pay attention to your breath. Just pay attention to it. You don't have to control it. You don't have to count it. You don't have to pace it, just in through your nose, out through your mouth. That's it. That's all you have to do for 5 minutes. But it settles your nervous system enough for you to be able to perceive subtler signals from your body. You can take 5 minutes to do what we just did, to scan your body, so you know what belongs to you, what sensations are yours versus coming from the energy or the physical presence of other people. 5 minutes. That's all. Just move your inner awareness up and down your body from head to toe and toe to head, and just observe what's there. This is how you begin to get reacquainted, to be best friends again with your intuition, your inner wisdom. Allow yourself 5 minutes to listen to your inner voice. We live in a very, very noisy, constantly mechanically enhanced world right now. So sometimes it's hard to find the quiet. I actually carry those little spongy earplugs that you get for a concert, because sometimes that's what I need to be able to shut the world away and listen to the chatter in my own mind, and then settle in to the inner voice that is deeper and wiser and eternally older than I am. 15 minutes. Give it a try. I challenge you. If you commit to this practice for even a week, everything is going to shift. It might only be a degree or two, but I promise you, everything is going to shift. And your intuitive signals are going to get stronger. So, everything I've shared with you tonight, the science, the herstory, the practice, this is the foundation of the program that I have created called Developing Integrated Intelligence. It's a seasonal program for personal transformation. I say it that way so as not to scare people when I say it's 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how you want to engage with it. We begin with awakening, and that's recognizing the abilities that you were already born with, learning to identify your own unique language and signals and metaphors and symbols, and understand which one of your personal channels is strongest. We develop, and that means building genuine trust with your somatic, your bodily, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, your energetic information. This is where the women in my program really start to notice the difference between imagination, fear, and intuition, inner knowing, the true wisdom that you carry within you, in your heart, in your mind, and in your womb space. Whether you are cisgendered female or whether you identify as female, you still have a creative womb space, which is filled with the wisdom of every one of your ancestors. Then we embody. Now, this is where we integrate the wisdom and the intuition and the learning into your actual daily decision makings. We do a lot of in-class exercises, and there's homework, but it's fun experiments that you can do in a couple of minutes a day. Nothing strenuous at all, and nothing that you can't have fun and learn from. It's just small choices to help you trust yourself to make the enormous choices. And finally, we learn to lead from the inside out, from a place of self leadership, of inner authority that never has to make decisions by committee and does not seek external approval once that decision is made. This is not just an experience, it really is a transformational program that gives you the tools that you can take with you and remember and use and succeed from for the rest of your life. This program is going to teach you how to trust what you've already always had and the woman that you already are. Stop looking for her. She's right there in your mirror, waiting for you to say, hey, let's play. And now I want to play with a little bit of pretending, imagining, or envisioning. Whatever word you want to use is fine with me. But I want you to just imagine for a moment, just a moment with me, how it's going to feel, what your life is going to be like when you are making decisions that feel clear and right for you, even when they're hard. Not because you have more information, but because you trust the information that you already have. Imagine having the courage to take up more space, fully, unapologetically raising your voice in support or in protest, whatever it is that you need to say. Can you imagine, just for a moment, having an unshakable sense of your own purpose and direction? Not a plan that you were given, not a blueprint that somebody else made for you, not a path that other people are telling you you're supposed to walk. Your purpose, your path, your direction, the one that you trust implicitly and explicitly because it came from within you. Imagine taking leadership and ownership and stewardship of your present and your future from the inside out, so that the woman that you've been dreaming of being, hoping of being, wishing to be, really is you on a daily basis. Imagine a life that actually feels like the one that you came here for, that you embodied for, that you've been dreaming for. What if that was your reality? What if that's available to you? What would be different in your life if you trusted yourself completely? That's what I want you to imagine. And that's what I really want you to want for yourself. So, if anything that I've said has resonated with you, it lit your hair on fire or it made your heart sing, if you want to know more, then there's three things that you can do, and I want to invite you to what is available next. First and foremost, if you go to my website, which is www.ro7es.com, you're going to find a beautiful self-assessment that is absolutely free. It's the first thing on the left in the navigation. And when you finish taking this 10-minute free quiz, you have the option of booking a 30-minute clear path call with me. Not a sales pitch, not an enrollment, not a selling. No, it's just a conversation about where you are right now, where you want to be, and what's possible for you. And then finally, if all of this lands with you and you feel your heart pounding a little faster and your breathing becoming a little bit more rapid, and maybe you feel this strong yes, that's wanting to come up and out and around, then I would invite you to consider Also on the website, there's a tab that says Executive Intuition Training. And there's all the information that you could possibly want about my final beta cohort. This is my last sandbox. So if you want to be part of my research team for a very much reduced price, the full course of 12 weeks is going to launch in September at $19.97. So this would be an opportunity to invest in yourself, because this isn't about me. This is about you getting results. This is about me proving to you that you already know what you need to know. I just need to help you remember. Would you like better decisions faster? Is that priceless to you to be able to trust yourself? Awesome. When you're ready, reach out and let me know. But what I'd like to do is just leave you with this quote from Marilyn Vos Savant. And I love that her name is actually Savant. Her IQ of 228 earned her a place in the Guinness Book of World Records as the highest recorded human intelligence ever. The smartest woman ever recorded by conventional measures said, "Stop asking for directions so much. Pay attention and figure things out for yourself. Have the nerve to take a wrong turn now and then. You'll develop better working instincts and have more self-esteem too." The smartest woman who ever lived is encouraging you to trust yourself more and stop asking for external validation. That is executive intuition training in one quote. That is developing integrated intelligence in one phrase. You already have what you need. Let me show you how to use it better. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening tonight. Thank you for being present. Thank you for being here. I truly hope to see you, all of you, in your wisdom and your intuition. Thank you.